with an update on plans for WrestleMania 39 and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. When talking about pro wrestling not having a union, something Jesse the Body Ventura has advocated for and tried to put together, Chris Jericho said this about it to Howie Mandel. There are no unions for wrestling, which is kind of crazy because we're on TV. It's not the Screen Actors Guild, and that would be the only way it could ever be unionized, as if SAG stepped in to do it. Wrestling started as kind of a crazy, carny type of a sport in the 30s. I just think it's one of those things that has never caught up for whatever reason. A union would be good in some ways, I'm sure, and probably hinder you in other ways, which is why probably they don't want to get into it. Speaking to The Ringer, interim AEW Women's Champion Toni Storm would ask the undisputed champ Thunder Rosa, who has been out of action for nearly 3 months, to make a return, saying, "Personally, I think she should just come to work and defend her championship like she's supposed to, like a champion should. But if the injury lingers too long, I believe she should probably be stripped, and then I should be the AEW Undisputed Women's World Champion like I was supposed to be at All Out." That's verbatim. I think she should defend her title. I think all champions should defend the championship. That doesn't just go for Thunder Rosa, that goes for everybody. Talk about this situation for the Full Gear media call, AEW President Tony Khan said this about stripping Rosa: "It's something we have considered. It's something to consider. I'm still weighing the pros and cons. Thunder Rosa's a great wrestler, and it's unfortunate that she's injured. It's kept her out a long time. It's not an easy situation, and I try to take everything on a case-by-case basis, and I'm trying to give Thunder Rosa every opportunity to come back and defend the championship. But eventually, you would have to crown a lineal champion." Khan would also note how the company has saved millions in between their Grand Slam and Full Gear events by performing in the Northeast. You know, frankly, there were major cost savings that people might not think about in rooting everything mostly in the Northeast. And that's why there have been so many shows in the Northeast recently, because we've saved millions of dollars between Grand Slam and Full Gear, which were both big financial successes, you know, $1 million tentpole shows. And we saved millions of dollars in between those shows by rooting everything in between. And that's kind of a cost-saving situation. And now moving west, I'm really excited to move the shows west too, but New York, New Jersey makes perfect sense to do pay-per-views, and it's good timing for us to have one of our biggest pay-per-view shows here. With Full Gear looking to be a stacked card, AEW President Tony Khan explained why FTR hasn't been wrestling much, telling Comic Book FTR have wrestled as singles. They have had some trios and, of course, have had a number of pay-per-view matches in that time, both in Ring of Honor and in AEW. But I think we could look to see them in tag action and maybe defending some of those tag team titles that they hold. They hold 3 different tag team championships in companies that we all have affiliations with across Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Lucha Libre AAA, and certainly I've been instrumental in organizing their bookings overseas and with Ring of Honor, where I also do the bookings. With Karl Anderson holding New Japan's Never Openweight Championship and now signed to WWE, he is still set on defending that title in the former promotion. As he said on After the Bell, "I am going to go back at some point. We are just trying to work out the dates. So far, nothing has been confirmed in regards to when he will defend the title," but he also admitted that sometimes with the WWE schedule, it's not possible. With Japan, you're knocking out 4 days at least, because you've got to travel 2 days before to get there the day before to work there the day of, because if you leave the day before, you're not going to make the show the next day. They're 13 hours ahead. The Wrestling Observer would add, Karl Anderson has said that he would return here, and most figure he's defending the Never title against Hikuleo at Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th. With stars like Matt Cardona, Chelsea Green, and Bronson Reed rumored to be returning to WWE, Ringside News gave an update on what the company is looking for. WWE has their eye on a lot of people. Here's the rule of thumb we were given. If you're really talented and have little to no controversies that can hurt the company, you're on the new regime's radar. Former WWE star Scotty Hotty recently took to Twitter to send out a message writing, "Dear promoters, I do not fight women. I'm 49 and have a 20-year-old daughter. Hurting women isn't appealing to me. I understand that there are men that do it these days. It's just not my thing. If that makes me old or out of touch, I'll take it. Please stop trying to book it." He followed it up with, "Also, before my matches from 20 plus years ago with Linda Miles, Chyna, or any other woman are brought up, I know what I did. It was a different time, a different place, and I wasn't a father to a 20-year-old daughter." Given the backlash, Scotty would end up deleting his account, as many reacted to this. This Scotty Hotty stuff is so unnecessary. He literally just said, I'm not comfortable with doing intergender wrestling, as it's not something I like visually. Scotty Hotty didn't really need to address intergender wrestling publicly, but he had to take his stand evidently seriously. Why are people trying to cancel Scotty Hotty over what he said? I don't personally mind intergender matches if it's done right, but it's down to his own preference. Interesting to see people moaning about Scotty Hotty and his stance on not wanting to work intergender matches. His reasons are nothing to do with ego or thinking he's superior. He just isn't comfortable with it, plain and simple. With him hoping to face the likes of John Cena in his next match, it seems Logan Paul is recovering well from his injury that he suffered at Crown Jewel, with Dave Meltzer noting, regarding his injuries, they were not as bad as feared. He suffered a torn MCL and torn meniscus doing the splash off the top rope through a table in the match with Reigns, but did not suffer an ACL tear. It is believed he is avoiding surgery and just doing rehab, so his recovery would give him plenty of time to get ready for WrestleMania. In an update on Jeff Hardy following his arrest in June for DUI, PW Insider reported that Hardy's scheduled pre-trial hearing for his DUI-related charges in Florida yesterday did not take place as scheduled. His defense filed for a continuance, with the pre-trial hearing now scheduled for Wednesday, December 21st. Based on court records, Hardy is required to appear before the court for the hearing. Hardy filed a written plea of not guilty filed with the court on June 28th. Talking about her debut promo in AEW, where many felt her line of "It's so good to have a boss to actually finally listen to me" was a shot at Triple H. Saraya clarified her comments when speaking on the sessions. I wish I didn't even say the boss thing. I feel like they got confused with Triple H, and Triple H has always been a fantastic boss to me. Like, I really enjoyed my time in NXT. I always had the best matches at NXT too. I had so much fun there, and he always did listen to me. So I feel like people got a little confused with that, and I was just trying to do character stuff. It wasn't anything personal, you know? People already know when I do interviews, I talk nothing but positively about WWE and my time there, and I have nothing against them. With him suffering a sprained MCL, Kevin Owens being a part of the War Games match at Survivor Series against the Bloodline is now in question. Despite this, PW Insider reported that we are told that currently Owens is slated to be at tonight's SmackDown taping and all the TV tapings leading into Survivor Series on the 26th. As SmackDown is likely to be an indicator as to what's next for KO, it seems acting is in his future, with Meltzer noting that Owens makes his acting debut in a 2023 series on Quebec television. The show is a French language show on Crave called Bon Martin Chuck, Good Morning Chuck, directed by J.F. Rivard, who has a very good reputation as a TV director in Quebec. Rivard and two of the other producers are wrestling fans, and because of that, asked for Owens on the show. His scenes for 2023 have already been filmed. Following up on the CM Punk situation in AEW as the Elite are returning to in-ring action, the Wrestling Observer noted that Ace Steel is starting to do training seminars. CM Punk's rehab of his torn triceps is said to be going really well. Colt Cabana wrestling Chris Jericho only made things worse as far as issues with the two sides. Punk remains adamant he had nothing to do with Cabana being gone. A lot of talent in AEW believes and insists differently, and it's openly talked about. Cabana being back only fueled that, especially because it was Tony Khan's decision and not a suggestion somebody else came up with. There also has been no change, as far as we know, in the Punk contract situation, and that he's still under contract here, and they were still selling his merchandise this past week at the arena. Sticking with CM Punk, it was said that his recovery is going well, as he seemed to confirm just that with his recent post writing. First time doing road work since the broken foot. For anyone out there going through it, the light at the end of the tunnel is you. With many in AEW apparently concerned regarding a potential return for Adam Cole to the ring, the Wrestling Observer gave details regarding the injury. Cole, who has been wrestling with a torn labrum, suffered what was believed to have been a very serious concussion, leading to a rushed and awkward finish of the IWGP title match as Jay White pinned him. It's a concussion, and you never know until you are ready and can pass protocol. Adam Cole's situation was never asked about, but it's very concerning since he's been out since June 26th in the four-way IWGP title match with Adam Page, Jay White, and Okada. A number of people have brought up being very concerned for him. With reports of WWE pitching ideas to Stone Cold Steve Austin for a match at WrestleMania 39, the Wrestling Observer would add that there has been a lot of talk in recent weeks that Steve Austin would be willing to do another match at WrestleMania this year. All we know for sure is that there is smoke to the fire and something is in the discussion phase. The ideas being discussed internally that are being kept secret.